So I needed a webcam, right? The problem is the offerings on Amazon.in seem a bit unreasonable to me. For the price that they're asking, these companies can afford to put some really good sensors into their devices, but chances are they do not do that. For example, this particular model is something that I've used at my previous office, and as it turns out, it's not that good. For the price, I would have hoped for something better. Now, chances are that you guys own some of these old digital cameras. These digital cameras are pretty much e-waste for most of us if it wasn't for the fact that these companies keep the code that actually operates them closed. If it was completely open source and if Sony allowed us to hack into these things, chances are we could actually use these devices still. But for now, they are pretty much just rotting away in your drawers or closets or whatever. And so was this particular thing. But what I had done here is that I have connected this battery pack, which I pulled out of an old power bank, a power bank that I blew up when I was trying to draw too much power from it. It was doing some high voltage stuff, but yeah, that's a story for another time. Point is, I got this amazingly large battery pack, about 10,000 mAh, and the battery that came with this camera is pretty much dead. If you're wondering, well, here's the battery, right? It's completely torn apart. I did it. I was trying to get the voltage controller board out of it, but well, that didn't work out. So anyways, point is, now I have this camera and I want to operate it. How do I do so? So what I've done here is I have created a sort of fake battery. The way it works is that I torn apart one of these old toy motors. What you will find in them is a very thin kind of copper wire like this one. Actually, I should have it lying around, and yeah, here it is. So this is something that I pulled out of one of these old motors, and then I took a bunch of cardboard pieces and the components of the battery. So this plastic back was something that I removed from the original battery, and I basically created a shape using this cardboard and some foil paper and some Captain tape, which was kind of like the battery, and then I used very thin slices of aluminium foil to create the battery terminals. If you're wondering how I actually got the terminal positioning correctly, I basically wrapped the foil paper like this on this cardboard and pushed it inside. That way the terminals would get marked on the foil paper, and then I just positioned the terminals accordingly. Afterwards, I just used this thin wire to connect these terminals. If I zoom in, you can see this wire coming out, and then I just connected this thing to this battery. Now, one thing to remember is that these batteries have three terminals: one positive, one quote-unquote negative, and the middle one. The middle one is for the temperature sensor. Now, that was a problem initially when I initially just connected the positive and negative terminals, and that wouldn't work because the camera would recognize that something was off and it would turn off immediately. What you need to do is actually connect a 10K resistor from the negative terminal to the mid terminal, right? And that did the trick. So in this monstrosity right here, there's a 10K resistor between the negative terminal and the T terminal that that connects to the middle point for the camera. And that's pretty much it. That gives me a completely functional camera with almost infinite battery, because this battery would last weeks probably on this one. The original battery was 600 mAh and it would last 6 to 8 hours. This thing is 10,000 mAh, so yeah, this thing will last. Plus I have already attached a small charging unit on the battery, so shouldn't be an issue. Now this looks like garbage because, well, I did not have good terminals lying around. I basically just scrapped together whatever I could from pieces of junk that I had lying around. I actually was going to use Arduino for this project, I thought that I wouldn't be able to simulate the correct amount of voltages for the temperature terminal, but all a 10k resistor is all I needed actually. Actually pulled it out. I was ready to throw some C code on this problem, but apparently didn't need that. Just a 10k resistor from negative to the middle terminal and the positive 3.7 volt. Boom, the camera works. It's fine. I can also click a picture. Let's see. Hey, works, right? Awesome. So yeah, like you can use these old cameras if you have them lying around as webcams. All I need to do is connect an HDMI cable here and use one of those cheap HDMI to USB converters, and boom, like it would work. So yeah, like now this thing does not have to go to a e-waste bin, I guess. So that's great. Yeah, and that's about it.